Hey everyone, welcome to this new video. If you have just started learning Elementor and feel overwhelmed by all the widgets on the left sidebar, don't worry, you're not alone. This video is specially designed for absolute beginners who want to truly learn and understand what each Elementor widget does without diving into hosting, templates, or complicated stuff. I will walk you through every single basic widgets in Elementor one by one so that you can confidently use them when building your own website. Think of this as your personal Elementor widget. Simple, clear, and focused only on the building blocks inside Elementor. So whatever you are trying to start freelancing, build your own websites, or just explore WordPress, this tutorial will give you a strong foundation to move forward. So without further any delay, let's get started. So for making this Elementor free version of series tutorial, I just installed WordPress in my test domain and I'm going to install the Elementor now in my WordPress dashboard. To install the Elementor, hover over the plugins and click add new. And now type here Elementor. So this will be very basic tutorial, and after completing the basic, then I'll be publishing more and more about the Elementor and the advanced tutorial later. So click install now. This is the Elementor plugin, official plugin, this one. There are lots of Elementor add-ons that you can see here. So we will explore them one by one later when we create more videos regarding the Elementor. Now click activate. Now when you activate Elementor for the first time, it will gonna ask you to create your account on their official websites, to fetch the templates and the pre-built templates to install inside your website. But as of now, we are not going to create a website. We are gonna explore and understand how the Elementor works, and that's why I'm going to skip this part. Click skip now. And then also it mentions you to install the HelloBees theme, which we are not going to install. Click skip. And also this one, we're not going to use this one. Click skip now. Now click skip. So after skipping the last step, it will take you to the Elementor editor panel directly. So as you can see, it's loading here. Okay, now click skip now because we're gonna explore them one by one here. So basically it just take me to a draft page inside the Elementor. Now if I go back to the dashboard, I can see that there is a pages and I can create a new page here. Right now it's create automatically this page, which is Elementor #7. As you can see, this one. So for this tutorial, what I'm going to do, I can click add new page and create a new page, then start working. So why not click creating a new page? So create a new page here by clicking over here. And now type here learn, okay, sorry, close this one, learn Elementor. And right now I am using the default 2025 WordPress theme. I do not want to use this theme as of now. What I'm going to do, I'm gonna visit my dashboard, go to the appearance and themes. I am going to install theme called Hello Elementor. We are gonna use the Hello Elementor theme, which is right now a HelloBees. They converted this to HelloBees instead Hello Elementor. And we're gonna explore that later. When we are gonna create a new projects using Elementor, then you'll be able to understand how the HelloBees work. Now let's visit websites. So this is HelloBees looks like. It's pretty simple and straightforward, a blank theme at all. Like literally it's a blank theme. Now this is our page that we have created here, which is Learn Elementor. Now I already published that page. Now it's time to click edit with Elementor because we are not going to use Gutenberg here. We are gonna use the Elementor page builder itself. Now click edit with Elementor and you have to click leave. Then it will gonna open Elementor editor here. So as you can see here, the Elementor is appearing. Now let's take a look at the elements that we can see here inside the editor area. So first of all, if you take a look at here from the top, you can see there is Elementor icon. If I click over here, there is a theme builder, which is for the pro versions, and you cannot use the theme builder right now. We're gonna explore that when I publish more videos about the Elementor Pro series tutorial. Now here is the history. you can see your history, what you are doing here, and then user preference. This is accessible, so you can change the user preference, which is a panel display mode. If you want light mode, if you want dark mode, you can change the panel to dark mode. If you want auto detected based on your browser, you can change them as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the auto detected as of now. And you can also change the width of this panel here. So as you can see, it's changeable. Even you can drag and drop here. Now here is the canvas, and there is some other information which is expand image in lightbox. If you do not want to use lightbox, you can disable that one, and show hidden elements, you can disable that one. Then there is a get started button and some design settings, which is a global settings. Right now the global settings is not appearing because you cannot do whatever you want inside the global because of some limitation for the free version. Now if I click over here again, you can see there is a keyboard shortcuts. If I click here, you can see the keyboard shortcut. If you really want to speed up the process and master your Elementor skills, then it's essential to understand the keyboard shortcuts. So if you take a look at here, if you can just Command and E, then the Finder panel appears. You can just show and hide panel, Command P, the site settings, structure, page settings, history. This is really useful. And there will be more shortcut in the future in Elementor latest version, which is currently in beta mode. But I believe after publishing this tutorial, after a few months, it will be published for everyone. Now let's click over here again. And this is the keyboard shortcut, and if I click exit to WordPress, it will directly navigate to our WordPress dashboard, but we are not going to do that. Now here is another one which is called plus icon. If I click or hover over, you can see it's mentioned here add element. So basically if I click here, the elements are appearing here. So some of the user called it elements and some of the user called it widgets. So basically it's under the widgets tab, and that's why some of the users are calling it widgets and some of them are elements. So both of them are right, but basically those are all together called elements, but still people are calling it elements, people are calling it widgets. It's completely up to you, and that's both terms are usually all of the users basically. So now we're going to explore the elements in this series tutorial widely, but before exploring the elements tab, let's complete the overview here. So this is the settings tab. If I click over here, you can see you can set the global color, which is a little bit short, not huge changes. And we're going to explore the global color in project base, because right now if I change the global color typography, you will not going to understand how this work. And there is a typography, buttons, image, form, site identity, background color, layouts, lightbox. So these are the settings basically. These settings are applicable inside the Elementor itself globally. At the same thing, which is the theme style. Each and every single theme has a typography, button, image, and form fields. So you can change the form fields styles from here, and it will be applied globally inside the Elementor itself. This is very useful. And the global fonts and the global color. So we will gonna explore each and every single layouts later on project base, because those are essential to understand and visualize when you build a real life project. Now let's navigate to the structure. The structure is not visible right now. We can make it visible when we add something here. Now if you take a look at here, there is the page title called Elementor. If I click, okay, let's close this one first. If I click here, the page setting, you can see the title here. That means this is the page title that we created called Learn Elementor. And the status is publish. You can make it draft, private, or pending to review from here without navigating to WordPress dashboard or going back to the pages. So you do not have to navigate to the pages to edit the Learn Elementor text. So you can directly edit it from here. And you can also hide this title by clicking over here. So when I click over here, this title will be hidden basically, or the front part. But I'm not going to hide this one as of now. The page layout, you can make it full width canvas, you can make it Elementor canvas, you can make it full width or theme layouts. So that's it inside this page setting basically. And there is a responsive control, which is desktop, tablet, and mobile devices. And here you can see if I click on tablet, it will gonna change the view and display the tablet view. If I click on mobile devices, it will going to change the view and display the mobile view here. And here is the checklist. So basically the checklist is if you build or when you build your websites, you can follow the checklist here to speed up the process, add your logo, set up global color. So it basically show you the steps that you need to follow step by step. So first, if I click over here, you can simply go to site identity and then add your logo, or if you have done already, you can mark as done. Then set up global fonts and color. So set up letter or set up header or assign the home page. Those are just a simple checklist. And here is the what's new. If you click over here, it will show you what's new inside the Elementor. It doesn't matter whether you are using the free version or the paid version. All the news you get here inside the Elementor, your editor instantly, which is really helpful, I would say. And now if I go back to the Finder, you can see there is a Finder. You can type anything in Elementor and it will search here. Let's type here post. So as you can see, add new post, add new page, add new section, add new container or floating. So basically the Finder, as far as I can see, they are working on it and they will gonna improve. They already done a lot of improve in their beta version. So I believe they will release the stable version very soon in the future. And there is help, which is support and their dedicated support team. And this is the preview changes. And here you can see the draft and template, save as template. You can save this page as template and reuse it again and again in the future. We're gonna explore how the templates work. Now there is 3 buttons here. So first off, which is the plus, which allows you to add the widgets here or the elements that you would like to use. So we are gonna call the widgets here basically. So if I click over here, you can use any layouts called flakes or grid. And here is the templates. So basically, if I click over here, you can see the blog, you can see the pages and templates from here. And we're gonna understand how the template, pages and blog works in later. But as of now, most of them inside the Elementor template library are all of them are pro version here. So there is another tab which is completely new here, which is built with AI. Right now, it's not fully functional yet. It's a beta version and I do not recommend it. I will definitely create a video for AI and how to use Elementor with AI. So that's all for the overview of the Elementor editor, and we're gonna next move from the basic to advanced things step by step. Let's move into the next part. Now it's time to overview or get an idea inside the Elementor settings and other information that is really useful. And I have seen many of the beginners have missed to understand how it really works and where to navigate things. So I was working with a freelancer, one of my client projects, and I asked him, hey, please check your Elementor system info whether the server is correct or not. So he literally don't know how to check and how to get those information. So this is very important to understand the full details of the Elementor if you really want to use this on your freelance projects or client projects. So first of all, if you take a look at here or hover over the Elementor, you can see there is a couple of pages called home, settings. I'm not going to explore all of them. We're going to explore all of them later one by one as per the projects. But as of now, I'm going to show you the basic one as a basic series tutorial. So if I click on home, you can see it will basically display you some additional information, which is just a quick jump start with your web creations like site settings, a customizer or logo and other information. This is really not necessary as of now. And now if I go to the settings, which is the most important part here, if you have any other post type, we're gonna create a post type later on, which is the advanced custom fields and custom post type. We're gonna create another video regarding the post types. But as of now, as you can see, only 2 post types is visible: post and pages. If you create any post types called portfolio, or it could be any kind of like testimonials or any kind of post types, it will be visible here. And if you want to display your Elementor on those editor as well, then you have to make sure that you checked the post from here like this way, and then click Save Changes. And integration, basically the APIs, if you want to use Google Map or display the Google Map API, you need to connect this API here. And if you want to understand how to use the API key, you can simply click over here and you'll be able to see how to get the API, and they have a clear documentation regarding this one. Click on Advanced tab. Basically it will show you some personalized Elementor editor. You can disable, you can enable specific features based on your preference. Let's say you do not want to display the Google fonts, you can simply disable this one. there are so many clients that do not use Google Fonts because it slows down the website loading speed, and it loads a lot of time, takes a lot of time to make a little bit overwhelming for the websites. And you can disable this one. You can use a custom font. They have the custom fonts options as well. From here you can use custom fonts. We're gonna explore them one by one. For Google Fonts and load Font Awesome, if you want to use Font Awesome, you can activate, and then generator tags, you can enable or disable this one. You have full flexibility here basically. And the performance, you can optimize, you can print method, CSS external file or internal embedding. So if you don't know, then just keep it all the settings default. If you don't know anything what you are doing here, just keep it or make it default one. That's it. Features, there are several features for ongoing experiments. Elementor added a lot of features here. Day by day you will be able to see additional features here. So if you do not know what you are doing here, just avoid them or make sure you click back to default if you missed out here anything. And editor version 4. Right now it's alpha mode, and I do not recommend you to use the version 4, but when it's released the stable version, I will definitely create a series tutorial about this version 4. Now the role manager and element manager tools. So basically the role manager and elements manager are not necessary as of now to understand. I'm going to overview the most useful pages or features that is we are going to use in the future. Now click on tools. The tools is very important. Sometimes when you are working with the Elementor, you will see all the pages, everything has been destroyed. The style is gone, the layout is broken, and everything is horrible experience. Like, and you might be wondering, oh my god, what happens? I lost all my work, my client will be punishing me or something like that. But do not worry about that. When you're working with Elementor and on a live server, they have some caching system and you might get some caching issue. At that moment, you have to click on clear files and data, which will Elementor cache, which will clear all the files, clear outdated CSS files and cache data in the database. And it will render the updated files when you click clear files and data. Very simple. And if you see the library is not working, you can just sync the library, which is the pre-built template. Safe mode, which is disable, debug bar, which is disable. If you are facing any issue, you can debug those issues by clicking on debug bar from here and activating the safe mode as well. There are several other information, which is replace URL backup, and you can back up the database, you can transfer your site and replace all the URLs from here. We're gonna explore. And version control, which is important things. Let's say you are working with latest version and you're facing some issue and you want to go back to the older version. You can simply select your desired version from here and click reinstall that version here, and it will gonna install that version easily. And you can become a beta tester by clicking over here. It's completely up to you. Maintenance mode. Right now the maintenance mode is disabled. Mode, which is coming sooner, maintenance, whatever mode you want, and then choose the template from here. Right now there is no template, and that's why you have to create one by clicking over here, which will gonna create a template inside the Elementor library. Then you'll be able to select your coming soon page from here. After creating that template, you have to navigate here and then choose the template and click save changes. And the website template, as of now, if you want, you can export this website. You can simply, by clicking on export, you can export the whole website, what you have done for your client or your test work or whatever site you have done. You can just export them, and then you can also import from the library. Like if you transfer a site from one site to another, you can simply navigate to the website templates on your new installation, click import from library and just import your site from here easily. And you can reuse them again and again. So right now, I hope you have some idea about the tool sections, and the last thing, which is system information. This is very important to understand whether my server is compatible with the Elementor or not. So as you can see, the server environment, my memory currently, which is the 1024 megabytes, and the PHP version I'm using 8.2, and here you can see the post max size is 1024. This is very important. You have a good server environment here. So if you are seeing anything wrong here, which is not like, this is the standard size. You can also see their official websites where they mentions that the Elementor PHP, if I search here, Elementor PHP configuration, So this is the system requirements to use Elementor. So if you just read this, and you will be able to understand what should be your system requirements. So here you can see it mentioned here the WP memory limit, which should be 256 megabytes, and the recommended is 512 megabytes, and 768 megabyte is the best performance. So it's very important to understand the memory limit as well. And if you see Elementor widgets panel not loading, you can read here and configure the other memory limit issue like this one. So you can troubleshoot and you can check your PHP memory limit, and here you can see the environment recommendation that you can find here, which is the recommended settings. So I hope you understand how it works and where to find those information. Now if I go back to the server info here, you can see the WordPress environment. So right now the WordPress environment looks like this, which is completely fine from my side. And there is nothing, basically all those infos are related to your server and related to your WordPress installation. So sometimes if you see any error or anything, it will be helpful for you to debug those issues from your side. Now there is another information, which is the submissions. The submissions is basically for the pro features. When someone submit Elementor form, you will gonna receive here. And then custom fonts. The custom fonts basically is custom fonts. If you want to use the custom fonts inside your website, you have to use Elementor Pro version. And the custom icons, it still requires the Pro version, and even the custom code is also required the Pro version. So I hope you understand. This is the Elementor settings overview, and I believe you have some idea right now. I see many of the beginners do not have ideas about these settings overview, and that's why I think I should create a video for this. Let's move into our next part. So now we are gonna explore the basic block or the basic widgets from Elementor. So there is another widgets called layout, but we are gonna explore the layout later, because we have to understand how the heading, how image, how text block works. Then you'll be able to create a nice layout using container grid. So let's close this one. And if I scroll down, you can see there is Pro versions. We're gonna explore the Pro versions later on the Pro series, but right now this is a free series, and the goal is behind this to explore all the free versions inside the Elementor. So there are two left, which is the basic and the general. If you scroll down, there is link in bio, which is also Pro version. So close this one. Now the only things which is general, and here is the basic. So let's explore the basic one first. If I click over here, as you can see, it just added here instantly. But if you want, you can drag and drop it here instead clicking. So you can click and you can just drag and drop here. Now every single widgets has three options called content, style, and advanced. So I'm gonna open the structure now. If I open this structure, you will gonna understand how this works. So I'm going to place it here. So now you can see here, this is the structure, which is in Gutenberg we basically called list view. And I believe if you follow my Gutenberg tutorial, there is a lot of things similar that you can find here inside the Elementor as well. But if you haven't watched that, it doesn't matter. You can follow this Elementor series step by step. Now when I click any elements or any widgets, it has, so when I click here, you can see on the right side, it changes the selected elements here. Click on heading, this is the heading, and here's another one. You can click over here or just click here. Now on the left hand side, it's all about settings, styles, and content related to the elements or widgets that we are gonna use here. So on the content, you can see there is a title. If I change it here, this is text heading. You can change it from here, or you can just click here and this is another text heading. You can directly write down here. And on the left hand side, you can see it's also updating on live or instantly basically. Now inside the content, you will basically see the settings or basically the features that these specific widgets gonna provide us. So if I add any other widgets like button, you can see inside the button widgets, there is settings related to the buttons when I select the button. To understand which widgets I'm selecting, you have to take a look at here at the top. So when I click button, it will gonna show edit button. When I click heading, it will gonna show edit heading. And then you have to understand when I'm selecting heading and when I'm gonna selecting the button here. You can see them here instantly when you watching this tutorial. Now the goal is here to explore the heading right now. Now delete the button, and when I select the heading, there is a toggle options, which is basically features the title, and there is a dynamic tag, which is we are going to explore the pro versions when we are working with the dynamic content inside Elementor. And also the something like called storage box or something like that, the icons. So whenever you see a storage box icon like this way, make sure you understand that it's a dynamic content things like dynamic tags, and the animated heading widgets, which is a block, because it's a pro versions from Elementor itself. And here is the link. You can add a link here. Let's add Riyad Mahmood website, my portfolio websites. And you can see when I hover over on the left hand side in this corner, it appears my link here. So literally you can add link inside the heading, and if I click on this link option, it will gonna add some additional features. You can add link window in a new tab or no follow, and also the custom attributes as well. If you don't know what is custom attributes, you can simply click learn more. It will take you to their documentation page. From there you can understand what is custom attributes and why this is important in some cases. So there are many users, they are very concerned about accessibility and some other features which is for accessible person. Then it's come to use and understand the custom attributes. And except the accessibility, it also useful for other purpose. So like custom code or custom value or custom things that we're going to implement in the future, you're going to understand how the custom attributes work. And if I go to the styles, the style is basically all about color, typography, spacing. So you have to understand this is the same thing for all of the Elementor widgets. The style means color, typography, and spacing. Basically, it's all about styling. It could be alignment, it could be border, box shadow, border radius, whatever styling is related. So it's all about that styling. Now you can change the alignment, you can change everything, left, right, stretch, everything justified from here easily. And you can change the font size, you can change the font family, whatever want, you can change it here instantly. Let's change the color to black one, and even you can change the hover color. If I hover over, it changes the color to the another one. And there's a transition. So basically you can see it's slowly changing its color. Now click on advanced. So the advanced is similar for all other Elementor widgets. I'm not going to explain every single place for advanced because it has the same thing, the layouts and the margin, padding, alignment, which is the control with effect contained elements only, and the order, which is the container elements when we are using following any order specific things. So we can change it later. And the size, basically it's grow, or you cannot instantly get the result from here because we haven't created any layouts that's gonna work here with the order, positions, and all of them are similar. The positions, which is the fixed, absolute, and Z index, CSS ID, classes, cache settings, just keep it like this way because the layouts has every single widgets has the same thing. Now if I go to the motion effects, it's not possible with the free versions. The transform, which is possible, if I click, I can rotate, and these will be available inside every single elements inside the Elementor. I can offset Y. Let's make it default. I can scale, and this can be done on hover also. So using these features, you can make it a little bit catchy design. When I select hover, let's use offset X and hover, you can see with the transition it changes the color and offset the elements itself, right? So in real life cases, we're gonna explore this one when I'll be publishing more tutorial regarding the Elementor, but you have to understand first what is possible and what is not using Elementor. And there's a flip options. If I hover, you can see it just flipped. Again, if I click over here, flip vertical, it's flipped on vertical on hover. On hover, because I selected the hover here, but if I select normal, I can also flip on normal mode as always, like this way. I can disable this one, I can enable this one. And this is the background. Now close the transformation or transform, select the background type, basically the gradient and the classic. If I select the gradient background, I can easily add gradient background inside this heading area, even though I can use the hover over effects to adjust the gradient as well. Now go back to the border. Okay, remove the gradient, it's not looking good. And the border is basically, it's all about the border. So okay, remove the background. So as you can see, it has a border around this heading, but if you go to the styles tab, as you can see, there is no border. But in some cases you'll be able to see some border on a specific styles, but at the same time you'll be able to see there is no border on some specific widgets as well inside the styles. And at that moment you have to navigate to the advanced. If you want to utilize or add the border, then you can add border from advanced settings, because the border inside the advanced will be always here. And mask, basically you can just use mask here. If I use image, you'll be able to understand how the mask work. But the mask will be, so all these layouts, advanced tab, all this information that is inside the advanced tab will be same all over the widgets. I said a couple of times, but I don't know, if you skip this video, you're gonna miss what I shared here. Now the responsive view, you can hide the desktop, you can hide on tablet, you can hide on portrait or mobile devices. The attributes is the pro version and the custom CSS is the pro versions. So that's it for heading. So basically it's not exactly heading, it's all about the settings, styles and content and how it works. Let's move into the next part. So in our previous part, we cover the styles and some additional information based on Elementor. And now if you take a look at here, if I add the heading, we covered the content, style and advanced. Now it's time to understand the container and the grid widgets from the Elementor itself, because in the next part we are gonna use the image, text block, video, buttons and so many things. So it's very important to understand the container and the grid here inside Elementor. So I'm gonna close this one. So first of all, let's understand the container first. So when I click, I can drag and drop it here, or I can simply click over here and then select the flex box. So the container works like a flex box. If I select here, it's the same thing. If I select here, the same thing goes here. Now let's select over here. So as you can see, the structure, if you want, you can start with any of them. Let's say this is displaying the direction column and this one is displaying the direction row. And at the same time, if I hover over, you can see, so this time is direction the 2 column on row, and this one is row 2 column, but one is 30% and another is 70%. Like this is how exactly it works, but you can create a custom column here easily. So if I just select the direction here, if I just simply select the direction, let's choose any of them. Let's choose the first one. The direction is column here. Now let's add some element here. Okay, so for better understand, let's add another container here and then add another container outside of this container, or you can duplicate this one. So I just duplicate the container 4 times here, and let's add some background color inside each container to understand how the flex work inside Elementor. Let's speed up this process here. So I just added a 4 container here and a background color. Now if you take a look at here on the structure area on the right hand side, clearly you can see these are the parent container and these 4 container are the child one under this parent container. So if you want to flex anything, you have to always choose the parent container. So these are the child, and inside this child you can add another container. We're gonna explore later, but as of now, if I select the parent container and go to the left hand side, which is inside the layout tab, there are styles and advanced tab also. But under the layouts tab, if you take a look at here, the container has container layout flexbox. If I click, there is an option called grid. So we're gonna use flexbox for the grid. I'll create another video later. Now I have selected the flex, and the content width should be box, which is the width is displaying here 1140 pixel. If I make it full width, then it doesn't matter, it will always display full width, and the width changing here 100% width. So basically, based on your browser size or the window size, it will be displaying 100% as always. And we can change it later based on our design and client preference. And you can adjust the minimum height, it doesn't matter, the height is displaying based on the container width here, or container height here basically. Now the most important part inside the flex, which is the item area, here is the most important things happening here when you're using the flex. Now if I change the direction, as you can see under the items tab, if I change the direction to row, you can see all of them are displaying side by side. So that means previously we have created column, but right now due to the flex, you do not have to create column. You have full flexibility to drag and drop to change anything inside the container, and the size you can change any sizes easily. Now if I change again the direction, which is vertical, you can see it's displaying vertical. Let's add another interesting thing inside the flex. I'm going to add a heading here, and I'm going to add one and change the color to white color and make it center. And at the same time, I'm going to make the font size a little bit bigger. Let's 80. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply copy these widgets and paste here. So I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut Command V. Okay, so here I'm going to use paste, or I can use Command V from the keyboard, but I don't know, the Command V is not working. Why? So let's paste here. It's displaying here Command V, but it's not working. So it should work. Let's try again. It's not working. Let's paste here. Now let's change them. Let's change them to 3, 4. Now if I select again the parent container, now it's time to change the row reverse. So if I select, okay, so column reverse. So first of all, we are inside the column. Now we can easily change the view, the direction from vertical, and we can change the vertical direction reverse. That means it started from 4, 3, 2, 1. The same goes here inside the row reverse, like 4, 3, 2, 1. If I select this one, then 1, 2, 3, 4. It's working perfectly here, right? So now I hope you understand the direction, and you can change the direction inside tablet and mobile device easily. Here is the justify content area. The justify content is very interesting and very useful things that you're gonna love these features. So if let's add another flex here. Let's drag them here. Okay, so let's add some space here. As of now, I just want to keep this to side here, and I want to talk about only the above part 1 and 4. So when I select the above part 1 and 4, I would like to make this container. So let's click over here, and at the same time take a look at here. I have selected this one. Okay, let's remove this one. This is not necessary to understand. So I have selected this container here, and then I have selected this one. When I select, as you can see, it's selected the container easily, right? Now let's select the one here and go to the layouts, change the width to pixel. So for understanding, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna make it width 200 pixel, and for this one I'm going to set this width pixel into 200. Now as you can see, when I select their parent, let's remove the below one also. So when I select the parent container here, this is the parent container, and this one is the child container. It doesn't matter how much or what type of information it has, you can easily work like this way anywhere. Now let's select the container here, the parent one, and then go to the justify content. And here you can see it shows the start. The first one is start. The second one is center. If I select center, all of the content inside this parent container will be displaying center. And if I select end, all of the contents that are inside this container is displaying at the end. So till this 3 version, I think we already know that left, right, and center. This is similar to left, right, and center. Now the another things that is most important, which is space between. If I click over here, you can see it create a space between these 2 items easily by clicking on this item. Now if I select this one, it will create a space around, like on the left, right, both of the side is the equal space here. And if I select here space evenly, which is displaying the space evenly, equally all over the places, like this one has 200 pixel, this space has taken 200 pixel, this space has taken 200, all of them are taken 200 pixel. And let me show you another important things. If I select the parent container again, I can add a height here. Let's add height and go to the styles tab and add a background color. So I'm gonna add a light background color here, very light background. Now go to the layouts again, and you can see align items. Right now I am using space. Let's use a space between, and the align items by default is displaying edge stretch. Now if I select start, you can see it start from the top. It's not stretching the layout, but by default it's stretch as always. Even you are not selected the stretch, but it's stretch, it's as always. But if you add any fixed height here, it will not going to work. So let's start here. When I select start, it's displaying the top. When I select center, no matter what type of content it has, it will always display at the center. So if I select end, the same goes for here. And if I select stretch, this is stretching the layouts. So this is how useful it is. And there is a gap. So to understand the gap, I'm going to duplicate this one. So I just duplicated all of them here, and they have a fixed width here. Now if I increase the gaps, which is here, it will gap or add a spacing the column area. But right now, as you can see, it selected the container child one. You have to select the parent container here. Now to add a spacing between each of them, I have to select this parent container. If I select this one, it will not going to work. Now select the parent one and add a spacing here. Let's add 50 pixel. So as you can see, when I add 50 pixel, it create a space between them. Each of them has 50 pixel. Now let's add 150. So as you can see, it's creating a space 150 pixel from each side. So you're gonna understand the spacer and everything later perfectly when we are working on a real project. Now let's take a look at the row here. Basically it has the column and it has row as well. To understand the row, let's change the view to the vertical mode and unlink from here and then increase here. Let's add 100 pixel, 120 pixel. So as you can see, it creates a gap between each item, 120 pixel gap. So I hope you have some good understanding how the row and column gap work. Now let's change the view again and duplicate more and more. So I'm pressing Command D from the keyboard to duplicate them. Now as you can see, there are more items here, right? But the container width, if I select the parent container, the width is 1140 pixel and it's shrinking the width itself. Like it has width 200 pixel, but it's shrinking down the width itself. Why? Because it needs more space and it's going back, reduce the space its own. So what is the solutions? If I select the container, as you can see, there is another option called wrap. So if I select no wrap, you can see it does nothing. If I select wrap, you can see it divides and it takes 200 pixel each of them. by default it always working as a no wrap. So by default it works like a no wrap. When I select wrap, that means it's wrap the content and display all of them and take place all of them perfectly as per the given width and height. You can also align the content inside the wrap item. So you can change the endpoint, change the space between, around, and evenly space. So that's all inside the flex container. If I go to the styles, it's the same thing that I explained earlier. And if I go to the advanced, it's the same thing, same features that I explained in my previous video. I hope you understand and now you have some solid idea how the flex work, and later we are gonna explore in depth in real life projects when we are start working with flex and grids a lot of time. Now let's move into the next part. Now let's explore the grid. So we just completed the flex and how things work. Now it's time to understand the Elementor grid. I'm gonna close this one and click here. You can see there is an options called grid, or you can simply drag this one and place it here to display as a grid. So grid is also very important, very interesting, and it is also very useful. If you understand these grid features, you'll be able to use this grid inside Gutenberg also. Even if you're using Webflow or whatever page builder it has grid, it should have grid. So let's try to understand how the grid works inside the Elementor itself. So what I'm going to do, by default, if I click here and here, there is nothing, the grid inside itself is empty. But when I select these sections or container area, on the left hand side you can see the container layout is now grid. You can still convert to the flex, but we're going to explore the grid here. And this is the same width and minimum height like the flex and the items, which is the grid outline. If you disable this one, the outline will be visible, but I want to display here. Now the most important thing is the grid is working like a column, and this is a 12 column grid, so it's working like a fraction. I will go explain that one later. And the row is also like 12 column row here. If I increase and decrease, it's working like this way. Now let's add something here first. Let's add a container here and add heading. Let's add one and make it center. Same goes. Let's change the color, change the typography font size, add a background color here. So select the container and add a background color inside the container. Let's make it darker. Why not make this white here? So I just added a container here. As you can see inside the grid, one container here. But when I select the grid, you can see it's displaying perfectly here. It has 4 columns, 3 rows. Let's make it 1 row here and duplicate this container pressing Command D from my keyboard. I can make, let's make 2, 3. Okay, so this color is really breaking down my eyes here. I'm not a big fan of this red color. I don't know why I added this color here. Let's take a cool, let's copy and paste the style. As you can see, I can paste the styles here easily. Now let's make it 4. So I have added 4 container inside the grid. Now when I select the grid, you can see the column is displaying as a 4. If I increase the column, it's expanding itself on the right hand side. If I decrease the column, you can see it's taking its own place. So let's say, for an example, if you want to create a bento grid or bento grid layouts, how can you do that? Inside Elementor, in Gutenberg, we can easily drag and drop the grid layouts, but in Elementor, they works a little bit different. Let's say I want to make this 1 and 2 together, and the 2 should start from here. Let's make it 2. And these 2 items I would like to make 1. How? Let's select the grid here. And inside the column, as you can see, it's displaying as FR. I'm gonna change it to the custom. So if I hover over, you can see this is a custom pen icon and this is the FR. And when I select the custom, you can see 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. So the 1FR means a fractional unit. And if I type here 2FR, as you can see, it will take 2 fractional units together. and let's remove the 1 here. And as you can see, this is 1, 2, and we can make this 3 and 4. So I hope you understand how it works. Okay, let's go back to the grid again. Let's add here 2 FR. As you can see, I have added 1 FR. I have added 2 FR for 1, which will take 2 column spacing, and the 1 FR for 1 column spacing, and the 2 FR, which is inside the same row, it will take 3 column. The first one is 2 FR, 1 FR, and 2 FR. The fraction is just as a column, number of column. If I add 1 FR, 1 FR, 1 FR, you can see here, and if I select this fraction here and drag it to 12 times, you can see here it's 12 1 FR, right? I hope you understand. Let's make it 6 and remove all of them and make it 6 FR. So I hope you understand. This is very important. I have seen so many of you don't understand how the fraction works here. Now inside the row, you can see there is also fractions here. So if I select 1 FR or 2 FR here, as you can see, it's displaying a little bit of space here, like the height, and it will gonna work automatically. You do not have to make, hey, I want this height, and the automatically, it means it will really useful for responsive devices. So we're gonna explore the useful features for grid and flexbox in a future when we are converting our design into Elementor. Now the same goes here. Let's make it 2. The same goes here for gaps, which is the column gaps and row gaps. That's just add a gaps here. As you can see, it's added inside top and bottom and all together, basically the column and row. And the autoflow, the row is by default, the autoflow is row. And if I select the column, you can see the 1 or 2 displaying here and 3 and 4 displaying here. And when I select the row, it's displaying as a row 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now let's understand the justify content here, the justify item and align item. So first of all, if I understand the justify item, I have to use the container width here. I have to select the pixel. Let's make it 100 pixel and copy, paste style. I'm gonna paste a style for all other container here. And now if I select here again, as you can see, there is options called justify item and align items. Now I can simply use the center, I can simply use end, stretch, and at the same time I can start. By default they start in, it will not going to work because I have to change the height as well. Now if I go to the container and adjust the height here, so I added height only one container. Let's see if it's gonna work. So as you can see, only one container is not working as expected. So instead increasing the height here, let's take a look at another place. For better example, I'm gonna select the grid and add a minimum height inside the grid. So as you can see, I have added a minimum height here. Now if you take a look at here, I can easily place this at the end on the right side and at the top or on the right side, and stretch. So basically the stretch left hand side gonna not work because we have added a fixed width here, and that's why it's not going to stretch the layout. But still we can make it center, we can make it all the center from left, right, top and bottom. So it's very useful. And the justify content is the same thing. The content will be align, justify. So we're gonna explore them on real life projects. As of now, I hope you have some good understanding and solid knowledge about the grid. And if you take a look at here inside the styles and the advanced tab, the advanced, as always, it's the same thing, same features on every single widgets, and the style has mostly the same features on every single things. But there is a one thing which is the common and not available for all other widgets, which is if I go to the styles, there's an option called shape divider. And the shape divider is also available if I select the grid from here, the shape divider. This shape divider is available for container and for grid. If I select anything, change any color, the shape divider will look like this. So there are lots of styles that you can play around and you can work on that. You can style them, use them. but this is not really as of now it's rarely used them, but in some projects you need to use this kind of features if your client wants to apply them. So I'm not going to explain this one hugely. I'm not a big fan of this shape divider, but I believe you have some idea and you can take a look at and play around with the shape divider if you want. So that's all for grid. Let's move into the next part. Now it's time to explore some other widgets from Elementor. I'm gonna close this part here. Click on this plus icon. And as you can see, we have cover, container, grid, and heading. Now we're gonna use the heading, image, and text editor together here. Okay, let's take a flex box here, and I'm going to take this container. So I'm going to take another container here, and after that what I'm gonna do, I'm going to add image, and let's add heading here, and let's add text editor, which is the text here, normal text. Now inside image you can add any kind of image. If I click over here, let's add an image. So currently there is no image. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to download an image from Pixels, and let's download this image from here. Click over here and click here, and I'm going to download the large file. As of now, the original will have some more data and details, and it will increase the number of size of this image. I'm not going to use a bigger one, that's why I'm going to use the large version, which is enough for WordPress. So I just downloaded the image here. Let's go back to our editor, click on this download button and drag and drop the image here and select here. So we have added our image. Now as you can see, if you take a look at here on the right hand side, this is the parent container and this is the child one. I'm going to duplicate this child container 3 times, and I can simply click over here and duplicate, or press Command D from the keyboard. Let's press Command D, and as you can see, I duplicated the container 3 times here. So let's style this text first, because we have already learned how to edit those text, and add web design services, and also add text here, UI UX services, Gutenberg development. So I have added 3 text here. Let's style this one. Go to the typography and add a font size 24 pixel. Make the font weight bold. And now I'd like to copy these styles. Let's copy, paste style, paste style. Or you can use shortcut Command Shift V from your keyboard. And now select the image, which is the most important things that I wanted to explain here. The image widget has some different kind of styles, features that we're gonna use later. And as of now, as you can see, they recommend to optimize your images to enhance size performance by using image optimizer. We are not going to use this one right now. If you want, inside the content from this image widget, you can display the caption. You can display the custom caption here. Text, you can see the custom caption is displaying perfectly. If you want, you can display the caption, attachment caption itself. But as of now, there is no caption I have added when I add this image here, and that's why I'm not going to use this one. You can add a link here. You can add a media file, and you can add a light box. If yes, it will gonna open this image into a light box like this way. So let's click on this plus pen icon here again, and I'm gonna use no or none, all of them here. So if I go to the styles, you can see as always the width, the height, and the opacity and the border radius. Everything is perfectly defined here so that you can use it. If I increase the width or decrease it, let's add a pixel here and let's make it 150 pixel. Change the alignment to the left, and as you can see, it's displaying like this way. Let's add, or let's make it 100%. So the 100% is the default width. If I go to all over the images, I'm not going to do that. It will by default, it will be displaying as a 100% width. And now here you can see the max width, the height. You can adjust the height here as well. If I adjust the height, the problem is the image is stretching itself, and the object feed you have to use cover to display the image perfectly. If you want, you can add center right, center top, top left, which change the position of the image instantly. I'm gonna display center, and I'm not going to use height here. I'm gonna use the automatic height as of now. And there's opacity. You can opacity, or you can change the image opacity easily here. On hover, let's say on default there is no opacity, but on hover you can add opacity like this way, and you can add a CSS transition here. So this is really nice, right? Even you can add hover animation like pulse. You can add shrink, and at the same time it changes the opacity itself as well. Bounce in. So there's a lot of animation that you can play around with the animation here. Let's make it normal from I do not want opacity here, and at the same time I do not want other features like CSS filter. You can also add the CSS filter when you're using hover. Like if I select the CSS filter, you can see, let's make it contrast 0. Let's make, okay, not hover. On default, let's change the CSS to black and white or blur. On hover, it should be displaying perfectly. So as you can see, on hover we removed, or we changed the blurriness, and that's why it's little bit of sharp and blur. You can see by default it's blur, but again it's sharp now. And you can also change the bounce in. Let's remove animation now, none, and it looks like this. You can change the normal color here. Let's change the contrast color and reduce the filter here, the saturation. Let's make it black and white, and on hover it will gonna display as a colorized image. So there is lots of things that you can use here, implement here, and you can play around how things work here. The border type is also like the border solid, none, dotted here. You can use the border with 5 pixels for an example, and you can see how the border looks like. Now let's remove none. You can play around with double. You can play around the border with dotted, dash, and groove itself. If you understand this image widget, there is a lot of possibility in the future. Whenever you use any kind of image widget or any type of image inside that widget, it has the same features, whether it's an icon or image or anything. You can utilize this one anywhere. So I highly recommend you to understand and experiment with the image widgets here inside the Elementor itself. Now let's go back to the border type. I'm gonna select none, and the border radius, it's the same thing. Let's use 40 pixel. So as you can see, it's now displaying 40 pixel border. Let's change the hover style. I do not want add as of now. So change the border to make it 0. I do not want to add the border. And there's a box shadow. In box shadow, you can see by default it has something here, right? The box shadow looks really nice and cool here. That can be added easily. So we are gonna reset this one also. Now let's take a look at the text editor. So we already explored the heading tab here. The heading we have already explored in our previous part. Now let's explore the text. The text is similar to the heading, but there is a few additional information. Let's copy and paste here. I added additional text. Let's explore the additional features. There is an additional features called drop cap. If I select drop cap, you can see there is the lorem. The lorem L is displaying as a large L. You can easily increase or changes its size as well. From the styles tab, you can see there is an option called drop cap. If you want, you can add or increase the space here. You can change the view to stack. You can change the view to the frame. You can change the color, and you can also change the text shadow as well. It's now blur, so I'm gonna reduce this one. And from typography, you can change the size itself. So isn't it beautiful? There's a lot of flexibility that they have added here. I really like these features. Now let's go back and reset this one. So go back again. There is another option called code. The visual is for text. If I add or make it bold, and now you can see the ipsum is displaying as a bold. Now if I go to the code, you can see it's displaying the code strong, that is creating the ipsum bold. Now go back visual again, and there's important things. I have seen many of customization expert, they forget that there is a column options. You can change this text or make it as a column. instead taking column. Let's make it 2 column. So as you can see, it's nicely displaying 2 column automatically side by side based on the content structure here. You can add gap between them, but I'm going to remove this one, keep the default gap. So let's reduce to the default one and also remove the content I do not want and do not want to drop gap. So now if I click on this style tab, you can see there's an alignment for text, typography, text shadow, paragraph spacing. So the paragraph spacing is basically increase the space between the paragraph item. If I add more paragraph here, let's copy and hit enter, you can see there is spacing, no spacing here, right? If I go to the styles, and I can add a spacing between the paragraph. And the text color you can change on normal, you can change normal, and you can also change the text color in hover as well. Go to the content and remove them. So if I select the container again, which is a child container, not the parent one, I can easily reduce the gap between the website title and image and the content here, because there's an options called row gap and column gap. I'm going to unlink first, and as you can see, the gap has been reduced. Now if I select 20 pixel, you can see it does nothing because this is the column gap, but we want to add gap between the row. So this is the row format, right? And that's why we need to add spacing inside the row. If I remove the column, it will not gonna affect here. And if you want, you can make more spacing. So instead using margin padding, this is the good practice to use row gap and column gap as per your sections or design or the layout that you're working on. Now I have selected the container. What I'm gonna do, I'm going to navigate to the styles and add, okay, let's add some spacing first. So I'm gonna, from advanced, let's add 25 pixel padding. Go to the styles tab, go to the border, solid, border width 1 pixel, and the color is, let's say, text format color, and the border radius is 20 pixel. Now if I close this one, you can see it looks like this, and I do not have to do the same thing all over this item. I can simply select and copy this by clicking over here and paste it here, paste style. And now if I want, I can add some space between 3 items by selecting the parent container here and unlink from here, and then add column gap 40 pixel. So this is how easy it is, and I hope you understand how the image and the text editor works. Now in this video, I'm gonna explore the video widget, the button widget, divider and a spacer, and trying as much as I can. So first of all, I'm gonna take flex box here again, and I'm going to take the flex direction row as always I did here. And now on the above, if I click on this plus icon, it will gonna add some space here on the above. If I click on the plus icon here, as you can see, there is an options called divider, and there is an option called spacer. So the divider and the spacer looks a little bit similar, and the divider itself will divide the layout. If I place here, you can see it adds a divider here. And again, if I click the divider, you can see there's a couple of different options: solid, arrow, curve, curly, a lot of styles that you can explore from here. So what I'm going to recommend you to spend some time and try using this divider in different ways and see how it looks like, so that you can have some idea about the divider in the future if you see any unwanted scenarios or styles, so that you can remember, hey, I got that styles from Elementor, it can be done easily using Elementor. I know that this is Elementor divider. That's it. So the divider has just a very basic thing, but it's really useful. If I go to the styles, I'd like to add some gap between the item here, so that in below sections I can explore other information. Now we just understand the divider. Now let's add inside the container, let's add another container here. From layouts, take another container, and I can simply duplicate. And on the left side, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to add by clicking on this plus elements. I'm going to take another items called video here. So by default, Elementor will display the placeholder video, and I'm not going to remove this one. You can keep it here for test purpose. So you can use Vimeo, you can use Dailymotion, VideoPress, and self-hosted video as well. And right now, both of basically all of them are same. All of them are displaying here same way. Just let's explore the options that they have. So you can add or adjust the start time, end time. So you can select specific time frame here easily. The video options is autoplay. You can make if you want it will play automatically, but it's not recommended. You can mute the video, and you can loop the video. You can control captions. You can play player controller. If I just disable this one, there will be no controller here. Just play and pause. If I use privacy mode, let's see, it will not going to do anything here, but the privacy mode, if you take a look at here, you can understand when you turn on privacy mode, YouTube, Vimeo won't store information about visitors on your website unless they play the video. So that's the thing here. And now if you want player control, as you can see now it's visible. Now the pause, sound, and other informations are visible here. You can disable them if you want. So let's disable that one. The lazy load, which is really important things when you are optimizing a video for a lighthouse or speed optimization, and when you want to make things work perfectly, make sure you enable or activate the lazy load. And you can suggested video, you can use current video channel or any video, but it's good to have current video channel if you want to suggest any video. An image overlay here. Let's say your video is talking about any specific topic and you'd like to add a thumbnail here. It's working like a thumbnail of the YouTube video. So you can add a complete different image as an image overlay. When someone click over here, it will gonna play the video. That's it. You can use a play icon. If I close this one, there is no play icon. If I select, there is a play icon. At the same time, if you want, you can upload SVG, and you can use the SVG by clicking over here and enable the SVG format. Then you can use the SVG icons easily. And here is the icons library. By default, it has only recommended 3 icons, so you can use any of them. Let's choose this one. And the light box, if you want, let's activate and click. So as you can see, the video open in a light box directly without causing any issue at all. So this is really mind-blowing, and this is very useful. We struggle a lot in other page builder where we have to use individual pop-up for displaying video inside a light box, but in Elementor you can easily, even it's a free version, you can just easily activate the light box. Just activate it, that's it. Now if I go back the elements, okay, before going back, here you can see some other features like styles, which is the same thing. You can adjust the aspect ratio. The most popular is 16:9, but right now due to the social platform and the TikTok or the Reels format, you can also use the Reels format here as well. It's displaying 9:16 or 9:16 ratio. You can change the other ratio format. You can use 1:1. You can use 16:9. So those are the new features. I'd say they introduced few additional features here, and those are obviously useful. The image overlay, you can adjust the image overlay sizes or icon sizes here. So let's adjust the size. You can change the icon color. We can make it, let's white looks perfect. And the shadow, then it's as always the same thing. I'm not going to repeat the features like the CSS filter. You already know that how the CSS filter works, so I'm not going to repeat the features that I explained my previous video. So keep in mind that I'm gonna use the newer one. I'm gonna explain the new features here inside the styles, content, and advanced tab. And you can see there is a background color. If I click over here, the light box has a background color. If I want to make it red, I can make it. If I want to make it white, I can make it white. Let's make it a little bit of transparency here. And the UI color is just for the UI elements like the close button and the play button, etc. And UI hover color, you can change the hover color of this close button as well. So that's it for video. Now if you take a look at here, there is another one called button. Now let's add some heading here about me. So let's say I have added a sections called about me sections, change the background color and add some text here. Go to the elements. So right now I'm not gonna use any keyboard shortcut or any key items from the keyboard by adding or removing any elements, but I'll be explaining later and how useful it is, you're gonna understand. But right now I'm gonna use by clicking on this plus icon, add text editor, and now add a button here. Now if I click on this button here, you can see there is some additional information inside the button. Let's click here, read more, and you can adjust the link here. And here is the button icons. Let's use a button icon here. Arrow, choose the arrow right, insert and display the right side. Icon spacing, let's add some spacing here, which is 10 pixel, which is ideal spacing. And now if I go to the styles, you can see here there is a color. Let's change the background color to black color as of now. Now let's make it or display them at the center. So in previously, before introducing the flex and grid, it was really hard. We used to use here the padding basically from the advanced tab. We try to use padding top, let's say padding top 50 pixel or 60 pixel. That is very painful and very bad idea for responsive devices. It takes a lot of time at that moment. But right now we are not going to use these features. What we are going to use, we are going to select the container, go to the layouts, and here you can see there's an option called justify content. If I select center, you can see it always display the center no matter what screen sizes you are using. It doesn't matter. It always display the center. And the same goes here for the gaps. So if I increase the gaps here, you can see the column and row gaps. So basically it's a row, and if I wanted to use the row gap, it looks like this. And you can adjust them easily here. Let's link together. 25 pixel looks perfect to me. Let's make it 20 pixel. And for button, let's go to the styles tab. There is an hover options. Let's change the hover color, hover background type classic, change the background color to secondary. And at the same time, you can use the transition, which is transition effect, animations, shrink, and pulse. So I would like to suggest you explore and spend some time with the animation and understand how the animation works. Let's add some padding 30 pixel inside the button and border radius 0 here. And I would like to reduce the top padding to 15 pixel and the bottom should be 15 pixel. So now as you can see, our button looks nice. So we have covered or completed the video buttons and spacer in this video. Divider. Now let's add some spacer here. So the spacer basically adds some space between the item. That's it. And right now we do not use the spacer widely, but this is what it is, and this is still inside the Elementor, but I haven't used it on real life project. And if I add icons above the about sections, you can see the icons is placing inside the video container, but I'd like to display here. So sometimes you have to use the structure items to display things perfectly. And let's go to the styles tab. You can place these icons to the left side, or if it's centered, let's try the container and take a look at the align items. Let's make it start. So it doesn't matter what kind of information it has, it always display from the start when I change anything inside the container. Now let's click on this icon, go to the content, change the icon, let's say store icon, insert, and you can see there is view, stack, and frame. So there are three different views. By default is default, and there is a stack and the frame. If you want, you can upload SVG icon. The only custom icon, it should be SVG format. If you want to use any of your custom icon, you cannot change the icon here like a PNG icon. You have to use SVG icon as always. So let's choose clock again. And the icon links, you can easily add icon links here. Now let's change the color. As always, it's the same thing, icon color, background color, the size. So background color is not available here, but when I select stack, you can see there is another color called secondary color. Let's change red, and the primary color is the background one. So let's change the primary color blue. Okay, and then change this one to white color. You can also rotate the icon. You can also reduce the padding. You can also change the size of the icon. A lot of things that you can play around with this icon. It's very nice. Let's reduce the border radius to make it sharp. You can add 5 pixel border radius, and as you can see, it looks a little bit different here right now. So if I change the alignment here, it will not gonna work because the alignment is added from the container itself. Now this is all about the icons. There is some additional features that is the same thing like the other one, like other elements or widgets that we explored already. Inside the advanced tab, those are the same things like layouts, padding, margin, and order, and other information here. So now if you take a look at here, there is only one option called Google Maps. So let's explore the Google Maps here. Let's add another flex item. So I'm gonna click on this plus icon and drag and drop it here. So Google Map is just a simple map and they have their own API. You can just add the location here. It will display the location instantly here. And you can adjust the height. You can adjust the zoom in and zoom out effect here. From the styles tab, there is nothing. There is only CSS filters. You can just blur out the map or make it sharp. You can change the brightness. You can change the contrast here. You can change the saturation here to make it black and white. You can increase the hue because it's not going to work because I have reduced the saturation here. But still, if you want, you can change the map's color easily by changing inside the hue area. So you can follow your brand guide and you can change the map color and information based on your brand guide easily. So that's the additional features inside the map. And you can do the same for hover. Let's say for normal, you haven't changed anything, but for hover, you have changed the contrast. Okay, let's make it default. And also you can change the transition here. Let's make the saturation 0 so that when you hover over, the maps turn into a black and white maps. And then advanced is the same thing as always. So that's it, and I hope you understand and enjoy this video. Let's move into the next part. Now let's explore the general sections area. So we have completed the layouts and the basic. So let's close this. And now it's time to understand the general. Inside the general, there is a tabs, accordion, and some other widgets or elements. Let's move into the design editor area. So let's add a flex box, add single flex here, and let's add a title here so that I can specify from the basic layouts at a heading. And here I'm gonna explain and at the same time add a spacer here. So I'm going to little bit change the layout and make it a little bit polish to make things perfect, looks perfect. Let's change it, learn tabs. Well, so I just make it a little bit of changes here. And now if I go to the plus icon here and drag the tabs and drop it here. Okay, let's click here again and change the direction to the vertical. And now if I please click on this plus icon, scroll down and drag and drop the tabs here. Now as you can see, the tabs looks like this. So previously, if we are using tabs inside Elementor, there was no options to add container or add additional items here. There was only just text. But right now they have added these features. So I created a lot of tutorials regarding Elementor previously. But the new tutorial that I'm going to publish, it has the options to use content or container inside the tabs, not only text. You can add literally any kind of contents here, including image, video, whatever content you want. Let's add image here first. Let's use this one. And you can add text here. Let's add heading. And then let's add video. Okay, so I hope you understand. Literally, you can add any kind of content, any kind of information here inside tabs. Now let's make them center. So the second tab, if I click here, there is nothing. Let's add just copy any sections from above. Let's copy this one and paste here. And the tab 3, let's keep it blank. Click on publish, and if I click view, so as you can see, if I scroll down, you can see the tab inside the tabs. There is 3 tabs here, and the third one is empty. The second one has content, and the first one has content here. So this is exactly how the tab works. Now if you want, you can change the tabs button here or the menu, whatever item you called it, but basically it's called tabs. Now if I click on tabs, now let's take a look at the tabs button here. Right now I hope you have some idea, because you can literally add anything inside the tab container area. But now let's explore the tab itself. Now when I select the tab, as you can see on the right hand side, there is tabs and there is tab. So the tab is basically the individual item, the tabs is the main primary item here. When you select tabs, it will have this title. Every single one has different title. Let's add services, add portfolio, and here you can add here, this is just random text, hire me. So you can see the direction. Now if I select services, you can see there is a direction above by default. Like if I select the below, so by default the tab direction is always displayed at the top, and right now if I select below, it's displaying below. If I select after, it's displaying on the right hand side. If I select before, it's displaying before. And let's say you want to display before and top. So as you can see, it's displaying perfectly here. And if I want, you can display stretch layout, which is stretching the whole layout automatically based on the content here. You can display them at the center, which is by default, it always display at the center. You can adjust the width here. So those are great addition, because these features were not available previously when I created additional tutorial in my channel, but right now they introduced these awesome features. Now you can align the title like this one, by default always display at the center. You can make it left, right, and at the end. So there is additional settings here. Click over here, and this is basically the breakpoint, nothing else. If I go to the styles tab, you can see the gap between. You can increase the gap between these tabs. You can make distance between the tabs from the content, and you can also use the normal mode is background type, border types, and box shadow. Those are the normal, and there is a hover. If I hover over, let's make it red. So as you can see, when I hover over, it turns into red. And on the active, if you want, you can change the active background color to purple or whatever color your client want. Let's take a look at here. That's really awesome. Now there's a border radius, padding, and there's a titles, styles, color. So everything which is, this one is the tabs, which is related to the tabs. This one is the title, related to the title. And this one is the icon here. And this one for the content. Now if I go back to the content, you can see here, if I select services, there's an option called icons library. Right now there is no icon. If I select, still if I want to add icons here, I can easily add icon here. When I add icon, you can see there is some additional items inside the styles tab. Go to the icons, here is the options. You can change the alignment to icon positions to the below, top, right. So I really surprised, because those new additions were really useful, because there is a lot of possibility that you can do right now. I have been using Elementor 2016, but right now they improved a lot. They have added a lot of things. Now go back to the content. There is a content, border radius, and additional information. Let's say if you want to add a background color inside your content area, then you can add a background color here. Right. So I hope you understand, and this is really useful. And I would like to suggest you explore the features and everything here inside the Elementor, and try to understand how things work and what is the possibility, what you can do here. Now let's move into the accordion. So before moving into the accordion, copy this spacer, because I would like to add some spacing between the item and this. Let's copy this title here as well. Copy, paste. So now we're going to explore accordion. Now if I click on this plus icon, you can see there is a accordion, and if I drag and drop it here, the accordion is also similar like the tabs that we are working here, because if you take a look at here, there is an options called drag widget here. So that means you can create any kind of layouts inside each of the every single items. Let's say you want to display this one or these items. Copy. Okay, you cannot copy this one directly from here. Let's copy from the above one, which is perfect for me. Let's copy from here and paste it here. So we just copy paste, literally just copy paste item here, and you can do the same thing accordion 2, accordion 3, but our goal is to understand, because you can do or you can add any kind of information. So our goal is to understand how the accordion works and the possibility of the item positions and other settings inside the accordion here. If I click center, you can see all the items, the title, basically the accordion title is displaying at the center. You can change the title from here. You can, by default, I do not see any icons inside the accordion, but here you can change the accordion icon, and you can change the accordion icon placement or positions here. Now let's make it start. Here is the end, here is a stretch. The stretch is basically the stretch, the icon is displaying on the right hand side and the text is displaying on the left hand side. If I click on this plus icon, we can change the icon drastically. There's a lot of icon, even we can add our own custom icons here. Now here you can see the positions. I hope you understand. Mostly we use a stretch layout here for accordion, and there's a FAQ schema or frequently asked questions. It's really not necessary as of now to understand. And the interactions here, you can see the first expanded, all collapse. So as always, it will be expand by default the first one, and you can see the max item expanded. If you want, you can expand multiple items here, like multiple. So it will be expand by default multiple items at the same time. But as of now, the one is the ideal settings for accordion, and the first expand is perfect here. And the animation duration, if you want, you can slow down, you can increase the animation, you can decrease the animation here. And the animation basically refers to this animation, the close and open animation. So if you want, you can slow down. If you want, you can speed up the process here. Now if I go to the styles tab, the same thing, which is space between distance from the content between the accordion. If I close, as you can see, this content and the accordion item distance here when you open and close. Now let's open this one again, and also you can see here there is a space between items. Each and every single item that you can add a space are here. Background type, hover and active, both of the same things like the normal one, so I'm not going to explain because I have explained these features already. And the border type, which I already explained. The header, basically, what is the header? So if I change the color, let's change it to the red color. The header is basically these icons, which is they called header, and the active color is black. If I want to make the active color red, you can see the red, which is appearing here, and the normal color, let's make it green, and the hover color, let's make it blue. And now if I close this one, you can see here, which is red active color, and the normal color and the item color, which is displaying as green, and when I hover over, it's displaying blue, and when it's active, it's displaying red. Close this one and open this one again, and the icon size, you can increase or decrease the icon sizes here. At the same time, when you're using text anywhere inside Elementor, then there should have an options called typography to increase and decrease the text or the sizes of this text itself. And the same goes for icon, hover, active and normal. And let's click on the content. This is the same things, content border radius and padding. Even you can add a border as well. So I believe this is a huge addition for Elementor, and I really enjoy the latest version that they introduce a lot of things here inside Elementor. Now let's understand the image box and see if we can cover the icon box as well. So let's copy here. I'm gonna copy spacer and then copy the title from here, add a flexbox container, paste, and let's write here, okay, close the basic one, let's write here image box. So we are gonna explore the image box here first. Drag here the image box, drop it, and let's duplicate the image box. But before duplicating, if I duplicate this, it will gonna duplicate one by one later below basically, and I do not want to duplicate on a stack mode. I would like to duplicate in grid or row format. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm going to take a container here, so add new container. If you right click, you can see, you can literally add new container from here. So let's right click add new container, and as you can see, it's added here. And I'm gonna select the image box or image elements inside the container. And now when I select the container area, I can easily convert this to the flex. It's already flex by default. Now let's change the direction to the row, and I'll duplicate this item 3 times. So as you can see, I just wanted to introduce these features, and here you can see what I did here. I just added a container because the parent container itself has a displaying as stack format or the column format. If I select here, you can see it's displaying as a column vertical. It's not displaying row, and that's why it's displaying one by one. But for avoiding this issue, I added another container and then added the image box inside the container. So we're gonna understand and explore in our real life projects, which will help you to understand how everything works here. Now let's click on this image box and add an image here. So we can add icon from flood icon. Let's add any icons from here. Let's say I'd like to use this one. PNG, I'd like to use PNG as of now. And go to the Elementor, drop it here, select. So this is image box. You can use icons, you can use images, whatever you want. So there is an image resolution and the title and the descriptions, and here is the image. You can use image or you can use icons. And there's a link here. If I click, let's say just add hash as of now. The link is clickable for image and for heading, not for the content. Now if I click title HTML tag, you can change it to H4 or H5. Let's keep it H4 as of now. The image box, if I go to the styles area, basically there are 3 directions. Right now, which is the top direction, the image position, we can make it left direction or we can make it right direction. So let's keep it left or top. So when I select left or right, basically you can see there is a vertical alignment. So if you take a look at here, the vertical alignment refers to the align of this image, not the content here. Same goes here on the right hand side, it's aligned with the image, not the content. Now here's the alignment. If I just make it center, right, stretch or justified, it looks like this. Now let's make it left and image spacing. You can add some spacing here and content spacing. So the content spacing is basically spacing between the heading and the content. And if I click on image, you can increase or decrease the image sizes here. You can increase the height, border type, which is really not necessary. But if you want, you can add a border, you can add a background color, you can add border radius, a lot of things that you can add here. And same goes CSS filter and box shadow. We already know how the box shadow and CSS filter works on hover and normal. I'm not gonna explain them here again. And the content typography, color and everything goes here. I hope you already know that. So in short, those are the same things. I'm not gonna explain again and again. I have already explained them in depth. So I'd like to suggest you, if you haven't followed this series from the top, please follow the series from day 1 or step by step. It will help you to master yourself in Elementor. Now I'm gonna remove the remaining part and just duplicate this one and change the layout here as of now to show you how it works. Reduce the spacing and that's it. Now let's go to the Elements tab here, and there is another one called icon box. The icon box is similar to the image box. Let's duplicate this one and at the same time duplicate this item, display them here, and this is icon box. Let's remove them first here. So you can remove pressing delete here, or you can simply press your keyboard. From the keyboard you can press the delete button or the delete key from your keyboard to remove any item from the editor. Now choose icon box here. The icon box is similar to the image box, but there is only you can place icons from the icon library and the busy icon, and it has the title, descriptions, links and the tags, which is exactly similar. Go to the styles tab. It has the same options like the image box. There is no difference like the image one, so I'm not gonna explain them here, because if you follow the image box, you should understand how the icon box works here. The only difference between the icon and image box is, in icon box you can use icons from the library, a lot of icons, but when you're using image box, there is no options to use the icons library here. All you have to simply upload the image. That's it. So let's move into the next part. Okay, so now in this part we are going to explore the image carousel and the basic gallery. And if we have time, we can explore the icon list. But let's first understand how the image carousel work. So I'm gonna duplicate these sections here, and at the same time I'm gonna copy this one, paste here, and type here image carousel, and remove this part here. Drag and drop it here. So right now by default there is no image inside my editor area. So to use image carousel, I have to download some images. So I can simply navigate to Pixel. There are a lot of websites you can use image. You can use FreePic, or you can use Pixabay. So you can download image from any places basically. Now from Pixel, if you click over here, there is image and video. You can download video and images, and the leaderboard. So you can also explore the discover photos and a lot of features. But I was looking for, there is an options which is the image sizes, but I do not see that one here again. Now let's download the image from here. Let's download few of the random images. So I'm gonna download this little bit of large. Okay, 1280 pixel is perfect. Let's download here 1280 again, 1280 pixel. I'm gonna download them. So I have downloaded few beautiful pictures from different author. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna navigate to my image carousel area, and on the content tab you can see there's image carousel and additional options. Basically these two options we're going to explore here widely. Now when I select the image carousel, there is a carousel name, image carousel, and you can rename this name. You can change this one as well. Now click on this plus icon by adding image. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm navigating to my Finder, open download options, and drag all the images from here. So I have total downloaded 6 images. Now I'm gonna close this. Now let's click create a new gallery and insert gallery. So we are using the carousel, but that was showing gallery inside the button. So I hope you understand, it's almost similar things when using gallery and when using the carousel. The carousel has few additional information or options which is displaying as a carousel slider here, you can see. Now there is image resolution. Let's make it full, and you can see when I add full width or full width resolution, it's displaying like this way. But still, due to the height, not similar height, it looks like this. But let's see if there's any options to fix that, to stretch the image height. But as of now, just make it full, and the slide shows, which is the default, you can make it 4 or 5 slides per item, or you can make it 3. And slides to scroll, which is default right now. If you want one by one, let's select 1. As you can see, it's changing one by one. But if I change it from here, let's say 3, it will change 3 slides at a time. I hope you understand what I mean here. And the image, there is an options called image stretch. No, so let's make it yes. So when I make it yes, it stretch the image left and right, but not the height exactly. So here you can see the navigation. The next one is navigation dots. So it's appearing here, arrow and dots. If you want, you can only display arrow here without dots. If you want, you can display dots only, and if you want, you can display none here, nothing. Let's make display arrow and dots. You can change the arrow to the custom one. So as of now, just default one I'm using here. And the links, so basically if you just take a look at here, the custom URL, You can use the custom URL here, or you can use the media file for lightbox, or each and every single image has lightbox options like this way. Now let's select again, and I'm gonna use the default one or no as of now. Caption, you can add or display the caption here. If I use a title, you can display the title here, you can display the caption, you can display the descriptions here easily. There are a lot of features inside the Pro widgets. As of now, we are not going to explore those features. And here is the lazy load, which is important for speed optimization. The autoplay, you can speed up the autoplay speed, you can slow down the autoplay speed by changing the value here, and at the same time pause on hover. If I hover my mouse or cursor over the carousel, as you can see, it's not working, it's pause itself. And pause or interaction, so if I interact, like if I interact here on anything, it will gonna pause as well. And currently the infinite loop is displaying, and here is the animation speed. And the direction, you can make it right to left. So if I take my cursor, you can see, okay, it's not going to change here. So as you can see, it's changing the direction. So as you can see, it's reversed the direction here. And if I go to the styles, you can see there is an arrow, which is the arrow position inside and outside. So these arrows are now displaying outside, and the pagination is also outside. Okay, keep it outside and change the arrow color to this color. Now these are the pagination, these are the arrows, and those are the active color. If you want to change the active color for these dots, you can increase the size, you can increase the space between here, and the default color, if you want, you can make it red or white or gray color. Now for the image, you can see here the vertical alignment. Right now by default it's displaying at the top. If I want to make them, I can display them as a center, I can display them, which is the vertical align end. And the spacing, so if I use custom spacing, I can add some spacing now between each and every single image. I can add a border radius or border, solid border. Let's add some border radius inside the image 20 pixel. It looks much better, right? But as you can see, this image height, we cannot change the height. There is no options to adjust the image height here, and you cannot change here as at all. The image height is not possible to change it here. Now let's hide the caption. I do not want to display the caption here, just image. That's it. But if you want, you can crop the image, like from here. Let's crop. And when you crop the image, you can see the height is still not changing. But if I make it little smaller, it's not changing. Still, if I make it thumbnail, it will gonna change the image size. All similar here. But the thumbnail will decrease the quality of the image. So if you want to make similar height on free versions, you have to use similar sizes of the image. It will gonna deliver a similar height image at the front end. But if you still want, you have to use the thumbnail, and in that situation, when you're using thumbnail, it is not going to display sharper image here. So I would like to change the direction, which is from here. The left one should be perfect. Now go to the styles and the image. This is very important things that you can also use the border. Let's add some border. Let's add 5 pixel border, and let's change the color. The red looks okay to me here. And the setting goes the same thing here. As of now, we are not gonna use the settings here for this video. Let's go to the next one, which is the basic gallery. If I duplicate this part, the gallery is similar to the image carousel. Let's remove, drop it here, and click. Select all the images from here, create new gallery, and insert gallery. Now from thumbnail, let's make it full. And as of now, it has the same thing, the image height. So you have to keep in mind that when you upload any image, make sure you are using the same height. And there is nothing here. This is just basic, and there is no carousel and nothing. If I go to the styles tab, let's see if there is any options. So there is also no options to add or stretch the image size here. Only border radius 20. And the light box is by default for gallery item. And the caption, if you want, you can display the caption. From here, there's an options called the light box is by default. You can display the caption By default it's attachment caption, and column 4, if you want, let's make it 3 column. And due to this image height, the gallery is not displaying all similar way. In free versions you cannot make the similar height as far as I can see here. And the setting goes the same thing. We are not going to explain the settings here. Sorry, it's advanced. We are not going to use explain the advanced every single time. So that's all for gallery items. Now let's explore the icon list here. So I'm going to duplicate these sections as I did a couple of times. So let's duplicate here and change the name. Click on this plus icon and take a look at here, icon list. So change the name to icon list here and click on this plus icon again. So I'm going to add some spacing at the top. From settings, I'm going to add a margin 120. Scroll down and click again the plus icon here. So now let's drag and drop the icon list. First of all, I'm going to remove this part. Now drag icon list and drop it here. And let's take a look at the icon list area and see what kind of information or features they have added here. So first of all, if you take a look at here, the icon list, there are two types of lists that you can create, which is the default one, and there is another one which is inline. If I select inline, as you can see, the lists are displaying in a single line here, and that is how it looks like when you select inline. If I go back to the default one, it looks like this. Now select the item. There are several items. If I select here, I can change the icon list icon, and here is the text to change the icon list text. Now let's change it to fruits name apple, and you can change it to banana and orange. So as you can see, I have changed their name, and also if I want, I can change the icon as well. Let's click over here, and if I type here to see if there is any apple icon, you can see there is an icons from apple, like this is the apple and this is the original apple, this is the apple brand here. Now let's select this one, and if I select the banana, let's see if there is any banana here. There is no banana icons here. So instead banana, you can use any other fruits or any icons here. The goal is here basically to show you the icons and how to use it. Let's choose any icons. Let's say clock, and type here clock so that the name will display a meaningful name. And let's say there is an orange, and if you do not have orange or the orange icon here, what should you do? So basically, if the icon is not available, you can upload SVG icon here. So if you want to upload SVG icon, let's say I want to upload SVG icon, click over here, and I can simply upload an icons which is SVG format. To download SVG icon, you can always navigate. You can also download from FreePic or Flat Icon. So from Flat Icon, you can download any SVG image or icon. Type here orange, and let's say you want to use these icons, or if you want a colorful icons. For this tutorial, I'm gonna use colorful icon here, and here you can see the SVG is for the paid version. So we have to take a look if there is any free options for the SVG here. It's still paid. So I do not have subscriptions for their websites, but I do have subscriptions for FreePic. And at the same time, let's take a look at Font Awesome. Click Font Awesome here. So you can download SVG icon from here easily. Let's see if the orange is available here. So as you can see, the orange is here, but it's still in pro version. But if you want, we can understand at least how the SVG works. So I have selected this icon here, and if you take a look at here, the download options, if I click here, it will download the SVG format. So as you can see, the carrot solid full .svg. And now if I go to the Elementor, drag my download items inside the Elementor and drop it here. So I just drag and drop, select or insert media. So as you can see, the orange, instead of the orange, it's displaying carrot because the orange is paid. So let's type here name carrot. And now if you want, you can style these icons. You can add a links to each items here individually. Or if I click over here, I can also add a links for this apple. I can add a links for the clock and carrot as well. Now if I go back to the styles area or navigate to the styles tab, you can see there is an option called space between. I can add a space between these icons or items here. And if I click on icon, you can see there's an options to increase the icon size. So you can increase and decrease the size of your icon. And now if I want to add some gap here, and at the same time I want to increase the size of this item. Now let's take a look at the icon color, which is the default color. If you want, you can change any kind of color from here. And at the same time, if you want to use the global color, you can add a global color here and it will be displaying here perfectly. For this tutorial, we are not going to use the global color and global typography, and that's why we are going to use the custom color and typography here. There are several other information for the icon positions and placement that you can utilize from here. If I click right, it looks like this. So currently it's not changing its position because when I change the vertical alignment from the styles tab, let's choose this one, still not working, not visibly working. Basically it's working here but not visible exactly how we want it to display. So to make it, you have to add some more content here. Let's grab some content like lorem ipsum, copy some content here, select Apple, add the content here. Now as you can see, the Apple icon is displaying at the center. Now if you want, we can go to the icon and change its placement at the top. So as you can see, there is a bottom or end and here is a start or at the top. And this is exactly how it works, and we can make it center, left, right. So this is how it looks like. Now as of now, I want to make this a vertical center, and for text you can adjust the text here, text color, text font size, and other information like the text shadow and hover color as well. And the advanced tab is the exact same tabs that we discussed earlier on my previous part on this video, so I do not want to explain this one here. For content, there is another option called apply link on, which is inline or full width. So that's all, and let's move into the next widget. Now it's time to understand the counter, and let's duplicate these items and type here counter widget, or just we can call it counter. Click on this plus icon, scroll down, and here you can see the counter widget. So you have to simply drag and drop it here. That's it. And I'm going to remove the previous one. And the counter widget has, let's add our total clients, and let's duplicate this one to check some other variants here, and type here reviews, years of experience. So now if I click any of them, and on the left hand side, the content tabs area, you can see the starting number is 0. If I increase, let's make it 40, you can see it starts counting from the 40, and the ending number is 100. If you want, you can adjust this ending number by tapping here, let's say 90. And as you can see, it started from 40 and ending number which is displaying 90. The number of prefix, if you want, you can add, let's say the $sign. You can add a $sign here. And for suffix, if you want, let's add 00. So I have added just a $sign and 00 as suffix here. So there is animation duration. If you want, you can change the durations, and it's calculated as a millisecond, and 1000 separator. If you want, it will display the 1000 separator here by default, which is the display the default separator. And the title is cool number. That means this is the title. If you want, you can change it to the any kind of text that we did here already. By clicking here, you can change it, and by clicking here, you can also change it. So let's type here total amount. And now the interesting thing is under styles tab. If I click over here, you can see there is some title position. So this is the title. If I click before, it will be displaying at the top, and by default it always display at the bottom or after, and you can place it at the left side or right side, which is stands for start and the end is for right. And let's use the default one. So I just deselect here and it's displaying default, and the title horizontal alignment, which is left and right, which is basically called start, center and end. So if I drag this slider, you can see it's increasing the title gap between these items. Now if you take a look at here, there is a gaps which is between the number, and go back to the number, you can see there is some color and other features. And if I go to the title, you can see the title text stroke and text shadow. So you can change the number, styles, typography and the stroke color and stroke shadow easily from here. Let's apply some styles here. The text stroke, let's add, and you can make it red or any kind of color. And the text shadow, so I'm gonna remove the stroke and you can see the text shadow here. Let's make it strong, and you can increase and decrease the blur and change the horizontal element or alignment for the shadow, and also the same goes for vertical. So this is exactly how you can adjust this one, but as of now, if you take a look at here, we are using the free versions and there is some limitation under suffix and prefix. So if you want, you cannot change the $sign font sizes here, and after dot the 00, which is you cannot change it as well. Now let's go to the container, and that's it. Now let's explore the progress bar from Elementor. So duplicate this one and type here progress bar. Click on this elements or plus icon here and scroll down. You can see the progress bar is visible. Drag and drop it here, so there should have a space, and now remove the other elements from here. Now inside the progress bar, if you take a look at here, we are using the container, and the container is direction is displaying as horizontal directions. So I'm gonna navigate to make it vertical direction so that the progress bar is displaying full width here. Now if you take a look at here, when I select the progress bar on the left hand side inside the content area, if you take a look at here, this is the title. Let's type here website design, and as you can see, the website design is displaying here on the content area, and here is the web designer. The web designer is coming from the inner text. So you can make it, let's say for, I have added as an example UI UX, and here you can see the percentage. Let's make it 83% or 86% here, and it's displaying here 86%, and here is the remaining percentage or the gap here. Now there are additional information. If you take a look at here carefully, the title, HTML tag, and here is span. If you want, you can make it this title as H3, or if you want, you can make it H2, or you can make it H4, whatever you want. You can change it from here. Now the display title, if you do not want to display that title, you can disable that title. You can just keep this bar, and you can also mention here website UI UX. And now exactly how it looks like here. And if I activate the title, it's displaying here. Now if I go back, or if I click on this styles tab here, you can see under the progress, there is the progress bar related style color like typography, color, and the text shadow. Let's change the color to green color and see how it looks like. So the title color is now displaying as a green color here. Now let's change it to black color, and as you can see, it's displaying black. If I change the typography, it will be changing here inside this title area. Now here is the percentage color, which is this one. Let's change it to red color, and it will only change the percentage area, not the remaining part here. Now basically the remaining part is the background color. If you take a look at here, the background color is blank. Let's add a white color or black color. It's look like this. Now the border radius, if you want, you can increase the border radius. You can increase the height of this progress bar. And here is the inner text. If you want, you can add the inner text color and typography, and there is a text shadow as always, like the above one and the inner text also. And the same goes inside the advanced tab or the settings area. So that's all for progress bar. Let's move into our next element or widget, whatever you called. So now let's explore the testimonial widgets from Elementor. I'm gonna duplicate this one and type here testimonial and remove this part, delete. And if you scroll down, you can see the testimonial is displaying here. I'm gonna drag and drop it here. The testimonial is visible. So if you want, you can add more content here. So I'm gonna duplicate this one and let's add an image here. For an example, I'd like to use this dragon image, and here is the image resolution. So if you take a look at here, there is only tab, which is a tab or accordion you call. It's only inside the testimonial here. There is no other additional information for the free versions. Now there is image and content we have added here, and the image, if you want, you can generate image with the AI, but right now we are using the free versions as of now, and that's why we're not going to use this one. So here is the name. You can change the name. Let's add Riyadh, or you can add your name and add a title here, and here is the link. If you add a link, let's say I'm going to add a hash, and if I hover over, you can see the link is appearing over my name. So basically the link is added my name, my designation, and the image itself. Now here you can change the image position. By default it's displaying aside, but if you want, you can display that image at the top like this way. And also you can change the alignment to the left or right, but by default it always comes with center. And as you can see, there is a loop carousel widget. Currently it's inside the pro versions, and the carousel widgets is really awesome. So we will explore the pro versions in future videos in my YouTube channel. Now let's go back, and on the top click on style. So you can see here there is a content styles, which is the color, typography, and text shadow. As always, the text shadow is available. And the image, you can change the image resolution. You can add the border type. With the free versions, you can add a solid border. Let's add 5 pixels. You can add border radius. If I make it 0, it's displaying square format, but if you want, you can make it 50, which will display the full round shapes here. And the name, you can change the color, typography, and the title. So it's very easy to use and understand, because each and every single part is mentioning the proper name here. That will help you to understand which one you are navigating and how to change it. And the advanced is the same thing that we are not going to explore here. So now let's duplicate this one and go to the Elementor widgets area, and here you can see the remaining part, which is the social icon. Let's drag and drop it here and remove our testimonial. And inside the social icon, if you click over the social icon, you can see here there is a social icon. By default it comes with a 3 social icon. You can also upload the SVG format icons by yourself, which is a custom icon, and you can choose the icon from the library, and here is the link. Let's close this one, and if you want, you can add another icon. Let's add WhatsApp. If I type here, and let's add a WhatsApp here, insert. And also if you want, you can add another item like TikTok. Okay, the TikTok is currently not available here inside the Elementor, but you can still use TikTok icon. You can simply use the SVG format that I have shared in my previous video, or basically this video in previous chapter. So you can follow the same, and the shape you can change it to the square or round or circle. And now the column is auto by default. If you want, you can make it 1 column, which is displaying on the left hand side. You can display 2 column, you can display 3 column. It's completely up to you. Let's make it auto. The alignment is now left and right. You can just 3 alignments here. Let's say I would like to keep it left, and I would like to display the 1 column. So sometimes this kind of layout is necessary for social share, but right now this is social icons, and it's really not necessary to keep this one like the 1 column view. So let's make it auto. And if I go to the styles tab, let's go to the styles tab here. There is a color. You can add your custom color. Like if I select the custom and primary color, let's change it. It looks like this. And the secondary color, if you want, you can make it dark black, and let's make it a little bit lighter. And the size, you can adjust the size as well. And here is the spacing. You can add a spacing between two items, and there is a row gap, but the row gap is not visible because when you add another column it will be displaying as a row gap. Let's move it and let me show you how the row gap looks like. Now the row gap will add some space between these two items, which is the Facebook and WhatsApp, Twitter and X. Now if I go to the styles and add some row gap 20 pixel, you can see it's displaying the row gap here now. In the border type, if I select solid, I can add a border like 5 pixel, change the border color to our primary color. Now it looks like this. The border radius and the icon hover, if you want, you can add hover color here. Let's change it to the green color, and as you can see how it looks like. And same goes for the secondary color. And even if you want, you can add a hover animation. Let's add shrink. Nice, right? So beautiful. And basically the goal is here just introduce all the features, existing features, and for making a nice websites or beautiful professional Elementor based websites, you really have to understand how these work. And that's why I have created this series for all of you. Now let's move into our next part. I'm going to duplicate this. Let's change the name social icon, and also change this name here. I'm going to use another part here, which is alert. Let's remove this social icon from here and go to the plus, add another widget called alert. The alert basically widely used inside posts or pages, where if we want to add any additional information for our user, let's say there is a cookie or there is something else like additional notes that you'd like to share with your user, and that's why the alert options coming useful or necessary at that moment. So if you want to show or dismiss this close icon, you can add it here, or you can activate. If you do not want, you can just hide this part, but it's a good practice not to keep that active. So when it's important or alert for user, then user should be just keep this as expected, like this way. No need to use close. But there are some use cases where you can place this one, but I haven't used the close options activate any of my client project basically. Now there are some other information like info and then success and then warning and at the same time danger. But if you want, still if I select the info and go to the styles tab, I can change the background color. It doesn't matter whether you have selected the info, success, warning or danger. You can always change the color. You can always change the style from here individually from this styles tab. And I hope you have some idea now how to change certain things like color, typography, spacing from styles tab. And just for an example, let's say so here you can add necessary links for any kind of any landing page or blog post where user can follow this link from here and make his websites or follow the directions basically. Now let's click on this plus icon again, scroll down, and there is a SoundCloud. So the SoundCloud, let's duplicate these sections and type here SoundCloud. Go to the plus icon again, scroll down, and let's drag and drop it here. So the SoundCloud will basically help you to understand and display the audio file from the SoundCloud websites. So it's similar like the embed file or embed code that you have added, but you have to simply just copy any sound and paste it here. So let me show you how it works. So I'm navigating to the SoundCloud and discover the top stream music here. Click accept. And let's say for an example, if I just click over here and click on these share icons and then copy the link and go to your website and paste the link here. Just I have pressed Command A to select all of this link and then paste here, or you can just remove them and paste here. And as you can see, it looks like this. I have pasted the whole playlist here, but if you want, you can individually you can copy the sound items, or you can copy this individual music from here. Now if I go back to the Elementor And here you can see there are some additional features like the autoplay. When someone landed your websites, it will autoplay, but it's not a good practice. And here is the buy button. If there is any options to buy, just show, it will show the button here, and the like button, download button, and some other button which you can activate and deactivate from here easily. And the control, if you want, you can change the control color as well. Right now it looks like this. And the visual player, no. And if I show the visual player, yes, you can see here the visual player. So the visual player looks like this. And now if I go to the advanced settings, this is the same settings that we have been using here in this tutorial. So it's the same one from the beginning. So you do not have to worry about that. I believe you can change it anything from the advanced settings here. Now let's copy or duplicate this section. Click on this plus icon, scroll down, and you can see there is some additional item like shortcode. Let's remove the SoundCloud here first. And again, click on this plus icon, scroll down, and the shortcode is basically a features from WordPress itself. Let's type shortcode. So here we used shortcode previously before introducing the Elementor. Even with the Elementor, we have used shortcode, and this is a third-party plugins that will help you to display specific features on a specific page. Let's say if I install contact form, let's add a contact form 7, because this is very old plugin and they do not have visual contact form builder, and they have shortcode. Let's say you want to display the contact form. I'm going to install this contact form here, activate, and there is a default form. If I go to the contact form and select contact forms, it has a default form which is the contact form 1, and here is the shortcode. So basically if we want to use or display any specific features or options inside pages, and if that page or that plugin doesn't have option to directly integrate with the Elementor, we have to use shortcode at that moment. So if I just copy and paste it here, then as you can see the form is visible, and this is how it looks like and how the shortcode works. And generally the shortcode doesn't have any style options because there is no control from Elementor when you are using the shortcode, because this shortcode is, or the features or the form, whatever you are using, is created using third-party plugin, and that's why Elementor will not interfere their styles and will not overwrite. But in some cases, some Elementor widgets or add-ons, a third-party provider, they added style options and features inside their Elementor widgets. You can use that one also, and in the future in my channel I will definitely explore some of them as well. Now let's click on this plus icon, scroll down here. We have left the HTML and menu anchor. So now if I duplicate this part, let's remove this one here and type here HTML widget. The HTML widget is basically will help you or allow you to add HTML code directly here. So basically it's a HTML code area where you can also add a JavaScript code. You can also add HTML, CSS, but it requires some additional knowledge. And if you do not know how the HTML code, JavaScript code, CSS code works, then I do not recommend you to display or add anything here. For an example, let's say I'm gonna type here button, and you can see instantly, hey there, and close this one. So as you can see, the default button is appearing, right? And this is exactly how the HTML code works. Now if I type anything like any other code here, let's add h1, this is heading 1. That's it. So this is exactly how the HTML work, and you can also add JavaScript and CSS here in some cases, but it requires some additional knowledge. But I'm not going to show you here for this video. The goal is just introduce with you about this widget. Now let's duplicate this one and move into our next widgets. I'm going to remove this part. Click on this plus icon, scroll down, and you can see the next one is sidebar. If I drag and drop it here and also type here sidebar. So basically right now the sidebar, if your theme do not support any sidebar, it will not going to display here. So let's take a look at our theme, whether it has any sidebar or not. So currently the theme, if I go to the themes, I'm using the Hello Bees theme, and if I go to the design, so basically there is no sidebar and there is no options to add a widgets here inside these themes. If I activate 2023, okay, the 2023 also is a block editor theme, and that's why there is no widgets or sidebar. Let's add another theme. So I'm gonna use older versions. Let's use Astra and activate, and as you can see there is options for widget. Click widgets, close this one, and the main sidebar is blank and there is no widgets here inside sidebar, only inactive widgets which is appearing here. Now if I go to the Elementor editor and click publish, and then I have to reload this one to load the sidebar here. Reload, and now I scroll down, click here and click choose sidebar. So as you can see, the main sidebar, footer bar and footer bar section 2 is appearing here. Now if I select main sidebar, it will not going to display anything because our main sidebar, if you take a look at here, which is completely empty. Now if we add any kind of information here, then it will be displaying here perfectly, and you can use or display sidebar anywhere inside your website when you're using Elementor. Now I hope you have some idea how the sidebar works. Now if I scroll down, there is another options called read more and rating and also text path. Let's explore read more. Click on this plus icon, scroll down and drag the read more here. Close this one, and read more is basically the continue reading. So if you take a look at their notes, this widget only affects themes that use the content in archive page. So this is a little bit of advanced knowledge required, but in our future complete project, I'll be showing you how to use this one in the future. So I'm going to duplicate this one and let's move into our next widget. Okay, close the pro widgets here and basic one. So here you can see the rating and the path. I'm going to drag the rating, and at the same time I'm going to drag the path here so that I can discuss with you and remove the remaining item. So type here rating or star rating and path widget. So the star rating is here basically, which is the rating, the number of ratings you can display here. And this is not dynamic, it's a manual system. You have to manually adjust the star, and you can, let's say 4.8, and as you can see it's visible here, but let's make it 4.3. So as you can see, the star rating is working perfectly. If I go to the style, change the size, it's more visible, right? Now go back to the content again, and here is the icons. If you want, you can change the star icon. If you have any custom icon, you can easily upload your custom icon as well. And the same goes here, the alignment. Now go to the styles. It has the same thing like size, spacing, color, and unmarked color. And now if I click on this path widget, the path widget is basically text or curved text. And there are several styles that you can apply here. Let's say right now by default it comes with a web style. If I select arc, it's displaying arc style here. And let's add, this is arc style. I hope you. So this is a limitation here. Like we can keep this one like this, and if we want we can make it circle, and then we can write down more. And this is circle style. I hope you like this. And here is the line style. So here you can see the line, and let's select oval, and if I select the oval, it will be displaying as a oval shape. And there is a spiral shape as well, which is nice looking here. And the custom shape, if you want, you can use the Svisian custom shapes, but I'm not going to do the custom shape as of now. Let's choose a circle, and you can add a link here. And even though the text direction, you can change the text direction as well, LTR or RTL. So right to left or left to right. And show the path. If you want, you can display the path here as well. Now let's go to the styles tab, and you can see the size. In case if you want to change the size, you can easily do it. And here is the rotate. You can make it rotate as well. You can change the starting path or word spacing. So a lot of styles that they have added inside the free versions. That is amazing, right? And if I go to the hover, you can change the hover color and hover animations. So you can make it shrink like this way. And the path here, which is the same goes word, which is the path if you want. If you really want to change the path, it looks like this. Or you can make the path width or stroke color basically on hover. I hope you understand how it works. So I forgot to show you the menu anchor and exactly how the menu anchor works. Let's add a menu anchor here. And I'm gonna add a menu anchor. This one. So the menu anchor basically works, or it's like an ID, and let's add, it's used for single page navigation, or if you want to add any specific sections to click from somewhere else from the above sections, then it comes here. But technically we do not use it widely, so we use the settings options and ID. But if you want, you can use this anchor features. So let's add about. Just edit. I have added just about and publish. So I added HTML widgets, and inside and above the HTML widgets I have added about, and at the top let's add a button here. Just drop it here, the button, and in the link add here about, publish, and view the page here, and click on this link. It will take me to the exact place where the anchor was created or placed above the HTML widgets. And this is exactly how the anchor works. So if I click here again, as you can see, it takes me to the exact place. So I hope you understand how the anchor works. So that's all for Elementor basically, and we have covered all the free features from Elementor. And in the future, in the next part, after releasing some Elementor projects, we'll be exploring the Elementor Pro features with some more advanced section design and more advanced settings from Elementor.